Hi, and welcome to this episode of The Art of Aging, which is part of the Abundant Aging podcast series from United Church Homes. On this show, we look at what it means to age in America and in other places around the world with positive, empowering, and compelling conversations that encourage everyone everywhere to age with abundance. We have been doing a series of shortcuts for this run of series, and we're going to be sitting down with Beth Long-Higgins, who is the head of our Ruth Frost Parker Center for Abundant Aging, which is also the sponsor for this show. Beth, welcome.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, hello again. And I say hello again because we've had a great time really unpacking different issues in aging and also many of the ageist tropes that the Ruth Frost Parker Center hopes to overcome and end with its work. And the topic of the show today is really around the idea of ageism and the benefit of reframing the idea of aging, the idea that it's not just for those who are older today, but really for ourselves today and for our future selves. So looking forward to getting to that, Beth. But before we do, putting in a plug for our annual symposium, which is coming up very, very shortly on Friday, October the 4th at the Nationwide Conference Center in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. For more information on attending our symposium in person or by joining virtually, please visit www.unitedchurchhomes.org/Parker-Center. The subject or the theme of this year's symposium is meaning, purpose, and redefining retirement. And we've got terrific speakers lined up like Richard Eisenberg, Anna Hall, and Janine Vanderberg. But Beth, back to the subject of today, this idea that reframing aging does not just benefit who are old, who we may consider to be older, for a 10-year-old being old as 20, but it really is a benefit to our current selves, not just our future selves. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, first of all, when we talk about reframing aging, what we're talking about is acknowledging that ageism is alive and very active in our culture and in our own internalized ways of thinking about life. And this has to do with ageism. And ageism is how we think, how we feel, and how we act about ourselves or others based on how old we think that they are. So I have discovered that when I provide presentations to groups of people, and most of them are folks who are 50 or over in age, that some of them just, they've not thought about ageism at all, and they don't see it as a problem. They've not had doctors say offensive things to them, like, well, at your age, what you're experiencing, that's just normal aging. Well, that's an ageist statement. Or they haven't had the experience of being ignored when they're in the store, and having the sales staff go and help folks who are younger. They haven't had the experience of being invisible. There are all kinds of ageist experiences. They may not have had the experience of not being able to get an interview for a job because from the resume, people can assume
or being told that you have to hide the year that you graduated from school, and you have to hide dates at certain jobs because you don't want to just trip that.
Right. So there are individuals who not had those experiences, and so they don't think that this whole idea of rethinking aging is important until I point out that half of the grandchildren that are part of their family, or half of the neighborhood kids that live around them in general, half of them are likely, very likely, to experience and celebrate their 90th or 100th birthdays. When we were younger, that was not an assumption that half of our class would be around to celebrate our 70th high school reunion, right? But usually we think by the time we get to that age, there may be just a couple. But half, right. That's a large number of people. So we can leave for them a culture which continues to be ageist, to embed these ideas that are harmful to our collective health, that are harmful to our society as a whole, and set the world up so that those half of our grandchildren that make it to 90 or 100 years old are going to spend the last 30, 40 years of their life unhappy and battling their age and trying to hide or deny it, or spending lots of money with organizations that are convinced that we're going to cure aging like it's a disease. Or we can be aware of what ageism is, the effect that it has on us individually and as a society, and that this is really kind of a justice issue. And we can reframe this thinking so that when those grandkids celebrate their 90th and 100th birthdays, they are happy and they are experiencing the abundant life, as we say, that they are flourishing because the barriers that ageism has put is embedded into our culture are not as prevalent. I would love to say that they don't exist, but I would like I'm a little more realistic and say they're not as prevalent, and it is easier for people to say no to those and to embrace the gift that aging really is.
Because this is where I really appreciate the work of the center, Beth, because I don't think anybody ages normally. I don't think there's anything that we can call normal aging, but I do think that in society there is this concept of normal aging that is just as you described, this just inevitable downward slope of function and looks and mental capacity and ability to be relevant and all of those things that essentially just I can't say infantilize until I say infantilize, that really do infantilize, older people and kind of put this into this state of learned helplessness where they're just sort of happy for anything that they get. And I say that because I think that there needs to be more around if that's what people think is normal aging, then let's introduce what normal aging quotes really is. Not the person who's 90 that goes skydiving, but the person that's 90 that goes and plays golf 3 times a week, or the person that is still teaching or contributing. I'm just contributing.
Or the person who's 90 who has a sense of what their purpose is in life and they're able to fulfill that. And that may be as mundane as being the one to go over and check next door for their neighbor who works, and they take the next door neighbor's dog out once a day.
Yes.
That may be flourishing. They're contributing to others. So we can't define for anybody else what they understand their purpose to be and what it means to flourish in their later life. And to your point earlier, when we started this conversation, the reality is that those ageist beliefs really are barriers to how we are aging right now. And this does affect our kids. In January of 2024, earlier this year, headline came across my news feed from BBC, and I thought, and I took a screenshot of it, and I thought, I'm going to throw that into this presentation I'm going to do on Monday morning for training of the health department here in the county where we work. And so I threw it in, and I thought, okay, this is just an example. It's kind of far away in England, but the article was an article that dermatologists in England had made a statement alerting parents that for children in elementary school, that it is dangerous, it's a health risk for them to be using face creams that have retinol. Mm-hmm. Because there are messages that are being sent and received by elementary school age children that if they start now using age cream that'll
Oh
prevent
no.
wrinkles,
Oh
that as they
no.
age, they won't have any wrinkles.
Oh no.
And retinol can cause serious damage in children. So when we're talking about changing aging, we're not only talking about changing and improving the lives of the half who might be 90 or 100. We're talking about affecting the lives of the younger generations who are in our care, who we still have opportunity to be in relationship with, to affect how they are experiencing their aging process right now.
Yeah. And again, I think I just quoting Bob Kramer on our previous podcast. Ageism is a bias against our future selves.
Yep. And so here I am in the middle of Ohio, and I share that screenshot thinking, okay, this is kind of an out there thing. And the person sitting in the chair in front of me raised his hand and he said, I've had this conversation with my 8-year-old.
Stop it.
This is not something that's happening out there across the pond. These are messages that are infiltrating and being shared with our kids right now. We have to reframe. And if we don't see it for ourselves and we figure, okay, I can handle this. We have got to change as a society for the health of all of our kids, even those who make it to 50 or 60 or 24. It affects how we're aging right now.
Right. Well, Beth, incredibly compelling subject. This is you live this every day. This is part of the good works that the Ruth Frost Parker Center is fostering under your leadership, and just such a privilege to sit down and really unpack these ideas with you. And more thanks, though, to our listeners for tuning in and being a part of this show, The Art of Aging, from United Church Homes. And please join us in person or virtually for our annual symposium, the Ruth Frost Parker Center Annual Symposium, Friday, October 4th at the Nationwide Conference Center in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. You can find out more about the symposium, the theme this year being Meaning, Purpose, and Redefining Retirement, with information on how you can attend in person and virtually by visiting www.unitedchurchhomes.org/Parker-Center. We hope to see you there. And Beth, my thanks again for a wonderful session.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye.